Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 75 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. As you can see, I have a bunch of soul sand and a few other miscellaneous things that I picked up in the nether while looking for soul sand. And I got a bunch, so I'm happy about that. So we've got a pretty good amount of supply for soul sand to keep this thing running for the foreseeable future. We've also got a good handful of wither skeleton skulls. Let's go check on that as a matter of fact. How's our spawner doing? Doing fine. You know, keeping up with essence demands, keeping up with energy demands. How are we doing for wither skeleton skulls, you might ask? We've got 13. Nice. I'll take 12 with me. That's enough to spawn and kill 4 withers. Haha. Nice. So, our wither spawner is doing great. Today's episode, I want to get a couple more nether stars, get the altar in my blood altar area upgraded to tier 5, and maybe start working on some other blood magic-y type stuff. So, why don't I press a button and kill a couple withers. Yeah. And then we'll be back in just a minute to, you know, have some fun doing some blood magic-y stuff. Alright? I will see you guys shortly. And that's 4 dead withers. So if my calculations are correct, I need a rune of sacrifice times 52. And I'm also going to need a beacon times 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 ought to do. Cool. And how am I for nether stars aside from that? 3 more. Awesome. I've got a handy amount. So the beacons go here. And that's kind of nice. They give off a little bit of light. You can remember that I mapped this out early on in the Let's Play series. Man, how long ago was that? And of course, since then, there's been added a tier 6 altar, so we're going to have to figure out how that's going to fit in. But we're also going to want to upgrade this rune of sacrifice deal. So let's get ourselves a wand of equal trade. And we can just extend this. Let's see, I think it's Shift-G, and then that's probably about as large as we need it to be. Nice. And the same for here. All right. That'll do. And finally here. Cool. Now, is that all I needed to do, or is there something else? Let's see. It'll tell me right now if I right-click this thing. Oh, look at that. Alder's current tier, 5. Nice. The other thing that we'll find is that we're probably getting a lot more life essence from each of the monsters that get damaged up there. So you can see this thing should be, because I made them all runes of sacrifice, collecting life essence much faster. Now, at some point, we might want to swap like maybe a whole row or so with Rune of Augmented Capacity, only because, you know, it might help for some things that require large amounts of life essence, but for now, it should be more than sufficient to keep us going. So we'll leave that as is. It's going to automatically create some more reinforced slates for us. That will work just fine, and we'll come back here in a minute to get ready to use this fancy new tier 5 altar. Hooray! Okay guys, so now that we have a tier 5 altar, there's several things I'd like to start progressing on with blood magic. We're going to want to, I'm probably going to work towards getting some of the armor that's available for blood magic. I'd also like to take a look at potentially getting some upgraded orbs. So as we know, we've currently got tier 1, 2, and 3 of the orbs, right? But I want to get the 4th tier, which is going to require some stuff. Let's see what we're going to need to do. I believe we're going to have to throw this in there, and if we take a look at orbs, we'll see that in order to get the 4th tier, we are just going to have to take a look at, let's see, Master Blood Orb. That's the one I need. Yes. 40,000 LP in our network. Oh boy. We're going to need some probably storage things. So let's see what kind of runes of we're going to need. So rune of augmented capacity. We're going to need some imbued slates. So let's get, we actually should have access to them from here, right? Yes. So let's do this. Buckets, how many of these do we have? Let's say we're going to want, I don't know. How many of these should we get? 5? Let's do this. I'm going to get 30. And that'll get me access to 11 of these, right? So then we'll do augmented capacity. Should be pretty straightforward to get at this point. We just need to find ourselves a blood orb. Magicians should work, and boom, 11, right? Now we can pop back over there, courtesy of our nice little staff of travel. And let's convert. So let's shift-click this. We'll stick to the same rows, right? So this has 13, I want to say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you know what? Let's actually... Do we have any more runes already in the network, or are we already using all the runes that we have? Oh, good, we do. We have a few more. So 13 is what I'll get. Cool. And then we can... swap them out. So now, what amount of essence can we store in here? Nice, 50,000. Cool, that should be enough. So what I'll do is first find out, yeah, we're about 64 of these. So let's let this thing finish, or actually let's pause the auto crafting. So what I'm gonna do is disable this interval, which should prevent the movement of things back in there. Perfect. And then I'm going to let this accumulate back up to the right amount. Nice. And I should probably change the thresholds here for the condition of liquids to turn off the lights. So we're going to say 50 buckets. Well, we'll say 49 just to be safe. Cool. Now the lights will stay on until we have 49 buckets of life essence, right? Or stay off, that is. So I will come back in a minute here when it's time to go ahead and craft this thing. And then we're going to use it for some pretty important purposes. So it didn't take terribly long to get to the point where we can craft this thing. So let's get it going. And we should at this point have, there we go, awesome. Now there are maybe another sigil or two I might want to get. Let's see. I'm thinking what I'd like to do is fill a bucket with some life essence, and we're going to use this to make a new sigil. That might help us when interacting with this altar as much as we are. I want to get the Sigil of Sight, which is an upgraded version of the Divination Sigil. Upgraded potentially might be a bit of a stretch, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. Also, I want to make sure to bind the Master Blood Orb to my player. And since there's one thing we can't do, we're going to have to go ahead and make another Divination Sigil. So that's an important step, and I'll show you why in a minute. So the Sigil... The Divination Sigil lets you see your soul network as well as, some other information. This one does not, so you can't see your soul network. But what it does do is let you see a lot more information about the altar that you're right-clicking on. So you can see information about the input and output tank, and you can also see information, I think, about like crafting progress, right, and the consumption. So altar's progress for the crafting that it's doing, etc. Pretty cool, right? So this will make it so that you can definitely see what's going on. So if we go ahead and reconnect our trigger here, we'll see the progress of this altar, and that's kind of neat. The consumption rate in LP per tick, so it lets you see the speed at which you're crafting. Cool stuff, right? So I thought that was good to go ahead and make and show you guys. So we should be at the point now where we're going to craft the next tier up, so we're going to get the reinforced one, right? Let's see what this looks like. Cool. So you can see the altar's progress, the consumption rate. It's a little bit different information from the basic Divination Sigil, but like I said, the downside is the basic one you can see your soul network, the upgraded one you cannot. So here's a handy crafting recipe for those of you who don't want to go out and get weak blood shards by using your blood sword that you get. If you go ahead and take one weak blood shard, combine it with the Master Blood Orb we just made and an imbued slate, you'll get 5 weak blood shards. I'm going to craft a bunch of them. Hooray, I just got 40 all in one shot. I could even get more, probably. Nice. Just 5 more, but that's fine with me. So I've got 44 now. We're out of the slates, but that's because I only have my system automatically crafting 20 of them. It will go ahead and create 20 more for me pretty quickly. Alright guys, let's start talking about Blood Magic's armor system. So, in order to get it, we're going to need to craft ourselves some empty sockets, which need a whole bunch of weak blood shards, aka the reason I was doing it. Then we're going to need to fill these sockets with 30,000 LP each. In other words, you're going to need a ton of LP for this mechanic. But that's fine because we're producing it at a pretty good rate at this point. The other thing you're going to need is, and this is a one-time craft process, you're going to need to go ahead and create an armor forge. Let's take a look. Maybe it's called just Forge. There it is. Soul Armor Forge. That requires filled sockets, stone, and a Magician's Blood Orb. So we're going to need to craft this at least once. So let's get ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4 sockets to get the armor forge crafted, and then we can start looking at making the actual armor itself. How is our Soul Network system doing at the moment? Not too shabby. Let's see. Oh, I also stole the orb from here, so that's why it's not going ahead and replacing it. But that's okay. Once this guy's done crafting this one, I'll go ahead and toss an empty socket in there. It's at 15, and it's currently crafting to 16, so it's almost done refilling all the slates that we used a minute ago, but no worries. So this guy should be done here in a moment. Cool. And I'm going to go ahead and place the empty socket in there, and this thing's going to, wow, 104 LP. Nice. So it's burning through the LP pretty quickly there. We might not even have enough to fill it up, but the monster's in there. That should be able to manage. So you can actually see now the results of not having this altar filled with blood. There is some loss if you're paying attention to the altar's progress down there. It is progressing eventually, but there is a loss every second or so. It loses a little bit. So this thing will go ahead and fill up with some LP. We're almost there. And then what I'm going to probably wind up doing is getting the remaining 4 of these done off camera. And then we can start checking out how to craft some blood magic armor. The other thing we can do with blood magic armor is imbue it with certain special cool abilities. One of them is going to be the sanguine helm. I definitely want to get one of these. Nice. There's actually a whole bunch of cool sanguine stuff you can get, but we just basically need to get some goggles of revealing made and toss it into a binding ritual. So we might need to get a binding ritual stone. And hey, look at that. This thing is done. Nice. Filled socket done and done. So while I wait for the altar to be ready for me, let's get some ritual stones. Do we have any handy? Probably not, but we're going to craft some. The ritual of binding. So let's get our ritual... Because we had a ritual of binding, as you may recall, but we broke it down and used most of the ritual stones, I think, for what's currently growing our ender pearls. So we might as well now use the effect to go ahead and do this. So, and we also used it for the Serenade of the Nether, I guess. So ritual of binding. It's going to require 8, 4, and 4 is 16, and 8 more is 24. Cool. So I'm going to need a total of 28 of the ritual stones. And we'll need an orb in the middle. Cool, that'll be enough. And then we'll get a master ritual stone. With an orb in the middle of that. Take it outside to where we actually used to have our binding ritual. I think this is where we had our binding ritual, right? Sweet, ready to go. And I should have my weak activation crystal. Perfect. And we'll put the ritual thingy there. Let's get a pair of goggles of revealing. Hey, you, get out of here. I think they're actually crafted in here, so I have to remember. I think it's 4 leather, 2 gold, and 2 of the thermometers. Yes, 4 leather, 2 gold, and 2 thermometers, which I need 2 shards for each. I can craft those in the AE system. One, 2. We'll need some zombie flesh for our leather, because we still don't have a leather farm to do, and I'll probably do it with blood magic. I'm going to make another cow farm so I can have more leather on hand, because I am always out of leather. And then I said 2 gold, right? So we'll take care of that. Pop over to our Botania area. Drop a bunch of leather. Hello, leather. And then back over to Thaumcraft area to craft. The nice thing about all these mods is they're starting to integrate with these goggles of revealing, so we can maintain our ability to see aura nodes and all that cool stuff, even though we're not actually using Thaumcraft armor, because I would have to be wearing those goggles, and that would take away from my bound armor ability, just like the Mana Steel Helmet of Revealing. So, I believe all we need to do is activate this ritual, and drop some goggles of revealing. Nice. There we are. Thank you, sir. Sanguine helmet. This is going to play a role very shortly in what I need to craft. So let's actually check how we are for slates. Yeah, we're probably going to have to recraft a bunch of the reinforced ones, but at least the imbued ones are almost done. I'll come back once my altar has finished its auto-crafting so that I can get the empty sockets filled. We're probably going to want, let's start with 5 more of these on top of the 3 that I need to do. So I will get all of these crafted and ready, and then we'll come back. We'll have a total of 5 done here and ready. We'll start crafting. Alright guys, so as you can see, I'm going ahead and crafting yet another, and this will be the 4th of the filled sockets, and something has occurred to me. There's a large period of time, typically, when the soul network is full. So let's actually get my orb back. Where's my master blood orb? Cool. I'm going to go ahead and toss this guy into the chest here. That typically is pretty much wasted opportunity for life points, right? So clearly my soul network is going to start filling back up for my player, but once this is full, we're going to be turning on the light upstairs and stopping the production of life essence. And there's a great opportunity to create a bunch of life essence when I'm not around, right? But you might probably think to yourself, Direwolf, yeah, we could be producing life essence instead of turning the lights on up there, and maybe storing it for later use. Is that possible? Well, yes, it is. So let's set up a system to automatically store excess blood essence when necessary, and then when we want to, we can go ahead and say, hey, let's get some life essence, get stuff going. So here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to go downstairs and check out how my production of really awesome stone is. Sextuple compressed cobblestone, huh? Yeah, we've probably got a little bit of a ways to go until we can get our octuples going. So we still have a ways to go. We've got 7 of them, and we haven't quite made a septuple yet. So we still have a long way to go actually before we can get an octuple compressed. We'll let that thing sit there. What I want to make is a drum. Drums come from extra utilities, and there's 2 tiers of drum. Regular drums that can store 256 buckets, ain't that much, and bedrockium drums, which can store 65,536 buckets. That sounds like a better number to me. However, it does require some bedrockium. So let's craft it. First off, how are we for cobblestone in the crafting system? Not so much as you might expect. So I'm probably going to actually steal some of that septuple compressed. 4 of them should be plenty, I think. Maybe I should steal all 7 just to be safe. I didn't actually check any math on how much equals what amount that I need, but septuple can break down into a stack of quintuple, and I really just need some quadruples and some triples, and that should be good. So we'll put the quadruples in there, we'll put the triples in there, and I'll bring the quintuples back downstairs. I need 6 bedrockium, right? So for that to occur, I'm going to need 6 blocks of diamond. Hopefully that doesn't decimate my diamond supplies too badly. And bedrockium ingots times 6. Beautiful. Keep in mind when carrying a bedrockium, you get slowness 4. It's really heavy. So let's go ahead and turn that immediately into a bedrockium drum. We're going to need 2 weighted pressure plates and a cauldron. So an expensive device to store liquids, to be sure, but we can store 65,000, which is cool. Now there's one other thing that we want to consider. Which one of these is quintuple? Quintuple, quintuple, boom. Crafted up to sextuple, nice. So I really only needed 1 of those sextuple compressed for everything we just got. That should give you a clue as to how much cobblestone is actually stored in those things. So as you can see, my soul network has filled up. This thing's starting to fill. We want to keep reserves in here, right? We want to make sure that we have enough for crafting purposes and for keeping our blood altar going. So what we're going to do is use Steve's Factory Manager yet again, and we're going to use it to completely automate this process of bedrockium drumming, and it should be really cool. So let's place the bedrockium drum right here, and hopefully that means that we have a liquid container available to us. Yes, we do. AE cable or bus, blood magic. Do we not have the liquid container available? Let's see. Liquid input. Let's check that out. Blood altar and AE cable. Interesting. Oh, you know why? This is a redstone emitter. That's not a cable. Let's put this right here. And now if we check our liquid input, we should see nice bedrockium drum. Cool. So why don't I show you guys how we're going to automate this. We're going to want to have some conditionals. So basically, we want to do the following. If we have more than, say, 30,000 LP in this tank, we're going to want to move a small amount into the bedrockium drum. Okay? And we're going to want to keep moving it until we have less than 30,000 LP. And then when we have less than 30,000 LP, we don't want to move it. Now, when we have a very small amount of liquid in here, so let's say we had, I don't know, something really small, we could want to move it from the drum into the network, into the blood altar. Now, there is one thing to consider, and that there's runes that affect how quickly you can insert and export, and I believe it's the rune of dislocation. This is what specifies how quickly you can put life essence into the network versus out of the network. So it's something we're going to want to consider, and I might want to have like a whole row of rune of dislocations out here, but let's start setting up the Steve's Factory Manager piece first. And in order to do this, because we've already got a pretty cluttered interface here, I'm going to go ahead and create a command group. Okay, command groups are kind of like separate areas where you can actually do a bunch of things. So we're going to actually expand this command group, and we're going to change the name to be liquid management. Cool. And when I click in there and hit in there, you'll see we have this whole screen that we can interact with, and it's its own little area, and then we can get back by just hitting this close group button. So why don't I go ahead and configure all the commands that are going to be in here, and then we'll come back and I'll explain how they work. So the first set of configurations is complete. We're simply doing a liquid condition that says if the altar has 30 buckets of life essence in there, go ahead and input from the altar life essence, 1 bucket's worth, and move it to the life essence bedrockium drum. Cool? And you can see that's already been done. We got 5,000, but now it's going very slowly. That's because of the way blood altars work. The blood altar currently has, in its primary container, which is the tank that we see, about 50,000 LP. However, it both has an input and an output tank. The input tank is where liquids go when you pipe them in, and the output tank is where outputs sit waiting to be pumped out. However, it can only transfer a small amount of liquids from its main tank to its output tank every so often. And it's a very small amount, like 20 LP. So like super small amount, like 20 millibuckets instead of the 1,000 that we want to have ready for us. So in order to get this, we're going to need a new rune. We're going to want the rune of dislocation. So we're going to need some water buckets, and we're going to need some more imbued slates. So let's get another, 30 water buckets. Let's get just, 1, 2, and 1 more. And that should be cool. We're going to actually snag all these. I'm going to go fill them up with water real quick, and then come back to do what we need to do for this part. Oh, I should probably sleep. Okay, mission get lots of water is complete. We'll put all the water into the A system. Nice. And if we check now, we should have 33 water buckets. Beautiful. Now, let's fly back and craft what we need to craft, aka the runes of dislocation. So I'm going to go ahead and say orb. Let's use the magician's blood orb, and we're going to 11 of those, huh? Probably want 2 more, so let's get 6 more buckets of water. And on my to-do list should be automating buckets of water creation in the A system, but we'll see if we ever really need that many. 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess they're in there already? Cool, all 6, yes. Nice. $13. Awesome. And I'll take my magician's blood orb with me back to here. So if we were to remove 1 line of these sacrifice runes, so remember, this is the cool thing about blood magic, and I kind of like it. Keep in mind that as you are changing the way your altar works, you have to have a balance, right? Like if we just throw all the runes of sacrifice on here that we wanted, that would be fine. But now that we have the runes of dislocation, if we take a look at our sigil of sight, we should see, all right, so we've got about 200 LP in there. every so often. So that's pretty good. That's probably more than, you know, is necessary to have. So 200 LP every so often. I'd kind of like it to be a little bit faster than that. But for now, I think that should be fine. So by the way, you'll notice that currently we have less than 30,000 LP, so our output tank is full. We're no longer transferring LP from the altar into the tank. Nice. But once we do hit that 30,000 mark, we will start transferring again. The reason it's low is because we had to use some imbued slates to make our runes of dislocation. Nice, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the Steve's Factory stuff that's going to be required for filling the tank from the drum, and maybe one or two other things we might want to do. So the logic here is pretty straightforward. Remember here we were saying, does the tank have 30 buckets? If true, then go ahead and start moving essence into the drum, right? Pull it out of the tank, put it in the drum. If false, we go ahead and check the tank again, and we ask if there are 10 buckets in there. If there are not 10 buckets, in other words, if 10 buckets is false, then input from the bedrockium drum and output to the blood altar. So basically what we've got here is a very automated way to completely handle all the essence that we need to handle. So we've got here, it's probably still crafting, right? I'm guessing that's what it's doing, yeah, imbued slates. So once it gets to that number, it'll go ahead, move some stone in. But once we get above 30 LP, we'll start stealing the life essence from the altar and storing it in the drum. And we'll do that at about 200 LP every operation there. It should be pretty quick, maybe 200 LP a second, I think it is. We could speed that up a little bit if we wanted to, but we're not quite at the point where we can speed that up too much more without really sacrificing our runes of sacrifice, no pun intended. So how about I come back here in a minute and we will watch everything work, because I want to craft some more empty sockets. But I guess while we're waiting, we can get the forge going. So let's get our forge, because we should have everything we need to craft a soul forge. Nice. So this will be used for crafting all of our soul armor, which will be very cool stuff once we get it equipped. And it'll pretty much make me not worry too much about taking damage for a while. So you can see here our chest has been filled with everything we need, so we're starting to get more than 30,000 LP, right? So what we're going to watch here, as soon as we hit 30,000 LP, the output tank should start to be drained by Steve's Factory Manager. There it goes. Cool, right? And it's not going to be drained anymore until we've hit 30,000 LP again. Nice. So we should be keeping up with the amount of LP that we're using. Now we are going to produce a little bit more in from the Runes of Sacrifice than we do for transferring to the tank, because we're producing, I looked at it, it was about 300-ish, you know, every second or so, depending on how many mobs are up there, and we're draining about 200-ish LP every second. There is a way to speed it up to drain faster for, you know, more times per second, but we don't have the resources to make that yet. But now let's go ahead and start crafting something. So watch what happens when I put this in there. What we should see happen is the following. As soon as we drop below 10,000 LP, and you can see we're getting close, our input tank should start to fill up. Boom, there it goes. So it's going to go ahead and transfer liquids into the input tank, and it's going to speed up the production here. So again, it's transferring about 219 LP. I'd kind of like that to be faster, but I think for now we're all right. So you can see the bedrockium drum is being drained, and this thing's filling up back up to about that 30,000 mark. Not bad, right? So if we just get to the point where we can have a few more of these runes of dislocation and maybe some more speeding up, we might be to the point where the bedrockium drum is our main source of LP, especially once we get to the point where, you know, some time has passed and lots of LP has been stored. Cool, right? All right, guys, just finished making my 5th filled socket. Hooray! As you can see, our altar is starting to fill itself back up, which is a good thing. Our bedrockium drum, we actually used all the all the life essence that was in there, but that's okay. It'll start filling itself back up once we get about 30,000 LP stuck in there. And now it's time to go make ourselves some really cool armor. Probably after I take a little nap. But that's okay. So the armor creation process, once you've filled up all these sockets, which believe me takes a really long time with all the LP that you need, is actually pretty straightforward. All you need to do is craft the soul forge in the world and then place filled sockets in the shape of the armor piece around it. So for example, if you look at let's say, boots, you'll see that diamond boots are made like so. And if you wanted a helmet, it's made like this, right? So if you wanted a bound helmet, you simply craft in the world like that. Neat. Now, if you want, you can, before you go ahead and craft this thing, attach some augments to it. And there's a lot of ones available. So, for example, if we put an air sigil on here, it would prevent fall damage. And if you put a divination sigil on here, it would give you night vision. If we attach a sanguine helmet, hello, it acts as goggles of revealing. So let's try that out. In order to attach them, though, we do also need to attach a blood shard. So we're going to need one of those. Having a blood shard on this means you can have one upgrade. Getting a demonic blood shard on there allows you, I believe, to have 2 upgrades per armor piece. Pretty cool. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to attach the blood shard to this block, and I'm going to attach the sanguine helmet to a different block, and then I'm going to right click on the soul forge. Boom. And it crafted and made me a bound helmet. And you can see the item in slot 0 is the weak blood shard, and slot 1 is the sanguine helmet. Nice. So if I equip my sanguine helmet now, number 1, I look awesome. Hello there. How's it going? And number 2, I should still have access to see all the stuff from Foamcraft. Nice, right? You'll notice that without the bound helmet on, obviously everything disappears, and with it on, everything's back. So that tells me the sanguine helmet component is working. There's a bunch of upgrades we can put on this armor too, so I'm probably going to want to upgrade my armor when I make my chest plate, leggings, and boots. However, as you can probably guess, it's going to take me a long time to get all the LP needed for that. So that's going to be a process that we're going to go through slowly but surely to make sure that that's all good. I might consider, between this episode and next, I'm going to keep an eye on my blood altar and see how things are progressing. Clearly, the small amount, let's see, we're at 30,000, so that's good. And when our output tank is filling, and then, you know, that's pretty cool. Nice. I like it. So we're going to keep an eye on the runes of dislocation here and see if we want a few more. But I think we've kind of accidentally hit a nice sweet spot number where it is clearly, you know, using LP for something right now. I don't know what it's using it for. Probably just, you know, keeping my soul network full. But obviously the essence is going up. And then as the essence goes up, it drains from the output tank. Very cool, right? We'll keep an eye on it, see if, you know, I'm wasting LP, basically, and I might want to have just a nice balance between runes of sacrifice. I might need a few more runes of dislocation. We'll see. I'm not entirely sure what'll happen, but we'll find out next episode. For now, Direwolf 20 needs to wrap up the episode, I'm sorry to say, so we'll come back next time, make a few more pieces of armor, try and get some cool tier 5 type stuff from Blood Magic, and maybe even check out some more nifty components and things that we can do with Blood Magic. I might want to spend next episode making the cow farm that I mentioned so that, oh, hello there. Nice. Unexpected side effect. The wisps are caught in the attractor. That is cool. Let's go ahead and lightning wand you. That is funny. The wisps that we're getting out of my thing are getting caught over here. That's really cool. Did not intend for that to happen, but that's just funny. Yes, I might want to make a cow farm so I have lots of leather and steak, because steak is better than potatoes. They usually go well together, but, you know, in terms of eating in Minecraft, steak is the best, I think. So we'll be back next time. All right, guys, Direwolf 20 signing off. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Take it easy.